This bed rotting trend has gone way too far. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm a clinical psychologist, and on this channel we talk about various topics and we analyze them from a psychological point of view. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Before starting this video, I want to remind you that I give in-person and online therapy. So if you need a consultation, please feel free to reach me out on my social media, my phone number, my email. All of them will be listed down below in the description box as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, it will help me out a lot. And if there's a specific topic that you would like me to talk about here on the channel, leave it on the comments down below or feel free to DM me on my Instagram. I'm always open to suggestions and I love interacting with you all. Self-care is something that has been trending for ages on social media by now, and throughout this entire time it has been presented in various ways. Skincare, journaling, diets, working out, the way you dress, relying on friends. I mean, there's a self-care style for everyone out there. But usually taking care of yourself involves some kind of activity, right? What if I told you that now people are embracing inactivity as a way to take care of themselves? And it has a name, bed rotting. The name is just the exact description of what this whole thing is. Lie in bed without doing anything. However, I think we need more info about bed rotting because we cannot fully understand it if we just get stuck with its self-explanatory literal name. Let's read some articles, which as always will be linked in the description box as well. What is bed rotting? Gen Z's newest self-care trend explained. And this article was published on May of 2024 and it has been medically reviewed and fact-checked. Experts agree that it is important to indulge in self-care to manage stress and boost energy. Self-care is important for one's physical and mental health, but is lounging in bed all day the healthiest way to give yourself some tender loving care? Yes, according to many social media users. A booming new trend sweeping TikTok involves staying in bed for extended periods, not to sleep but to do passive activities like eating snacks, watching TV, and scrolling through devices. The fad has been dubbed bed rotting. This trend is most popular with members of Generation Z who may feel burnout from work, school, family demands, or social engagements. Jeffrey Gardier, a clinical psychologist and professor at Tower University School of Health Sciences, told Health. On TikTok, bed rotting has more than 130 million views. Oh, TikTok. It had to be there that this whole thing went viral. I mean, I do stand by the fact that we cannot work 24/7. Being overproductive will only cause burnout, mental and physical fatigue. I know that social batteries need to be recharged by having some time alone. So I do encourage having me times to reset and be mentally healthy. And sometimes that might be staying at home, lying in bed, ordering takeout. It can be a cutesy thing to do, as the author of this next article claims. Actually, bed rotting can be a very legit form of self-care. It's called rest, people. Still, we as a culture tend to only praise certain types of self-care. You know, the socially acceptable ones like attending a workout class or listening to an enlightening podcast. On the flip side, online shopping and streaming movies on Netflix are typically seen as wasting time, since you could have fully embraced hustle culture during your hours off. But this wasted time that so many people in the US seem to frown upon can in fact be an excellent use of our precious free hours if it gives our minds and bodies a much deserved break and leaves us feeling rejuvenated. From that perspective, trends like bed rotting should actually remind us that aimless and unstructured rest is a legit, perfectly healthy way to take care of ourselves. Sure, maybe your definition of a restorative break involves downloading a self-help audiobook or taking advantage of stellar mattress sales or taking a luxurious shower. Okay, valid. But personally, I don't have the attention span to listen to something educational when I'm already exhausted, and the idea of blow drying my thick hair for the next hour sounds anything but chill. Doing nothing and not talking to anyone on Sunday allows me to recharge my social battery so that I'll have the energy to hang with my pals during the week. Being unproductive by wasting my afternoon afternoon on TikTok, this stresses me after an overwhelming workday. So please, let's allow everyone to rot in their bed in peace. And if you're inclined to shame, guilt, or troll anyone who's embracing rest, it might be a sign that you could benefit from a little rest and relaxation yourself. This article is very subjective though. It's the author's own personal opinion. However, I do get her. Doing nothing can be restorative and in certain cases even more productive than being actually productive. Sometimes we really need to disconnect from our responsibilities in order to accomplish them effectively later on. I just want to point out something that caught my attention. She mentions she doesn't have the attention span to do something like listening to a podcast or taking a long bath, but she is able to scroll through TikTok for hours. Red flag. Is it okay to use TikTok, have a laugh, and move on? Yes, I do that myself. But rotting in bed while you're doing nothing but scrolling through socials is a perfect formula for depression. When you scroll and consume a lot of content, your brain is overstimulated. Your dopamine and why not serotonin are very active. And then when you stop using the app, your brain stops receiving those stimulus, so those hormones rapidly drop, making your mood decrease. Your irritability increases though, and then you don't know why you're feeling frustrated and don't want to know anything about the world, which can be manifested on short attention spans as well. And you decide to bed rot. Average depression depiction. I would say with what she said at the beginning, binge watching a show, a movie, because it allows you to train your attention so it can be held for longer in your daily tasks. And also this doesn't overstimulate your brain because, shows, movies have a storyline which makes it more stable to watch than consuming thousands of different content. I'm not saying avoid TikTok at all costs. It would be very hypocritical of me to say that, but limit your usage, especially on days when you are inactivating yourself. Now, this trend is not only that, people have made an aesthetic out of it. If you have a puffy pet that you like to cuddle because it feels warm, or a nice cozy room that is the perfect place for you to rest, I get that you'd like to stay there for an entire day. However, it would be better if you did it every once in a blue moon. But everyone wants to stand out on social media nowadays, so you bet there are always individuals that go to extreme lengths in order to be the best at some random internet trend to gain traction and ovations from other users out there. And in bed rotting's case, it's basically who stays the longest in their beds. And when I say they stay in bed all day long, I really mean it. They might not go to the bathroom, they maybe don't brush their teeth, nor their hair, nor they take a shower. They most likely don't wash the dishes they have used. They are literally putrefied in their rooms. Here's an example which, trigger warning, is so disgusting. So if you're a very sensitive person, skip the next 10 seconds of this video or you will puke.
I'm trying to stay out of trouble, but trouble just find the fuck out of me. Trouble just find the fuck out of me.
That was mold in your eye. Literal mold. And I'm a very sensitive person myself, so I shouldn't be watching these kind of things, but I had to for the sake of this video. So please subscribe because I'm sacrificing myself to make this content. I know I signed up for this voluntarily. I just didn't expect to see things like that one. Unfortunately for you, there are not more examples of people having mold in their bodies in this video because I thought one was more than enough. But that doesn't mean there are not other videos like that one or other moldy places or things.
There's a new trend on TikTok called bed rotting that you may be doing without even knowing. So bed rotting is a trend where you stay in bed for a long amount of time without actually sleeping, but you're just there technically rotting away in your bed. You can see this person right here on TikTok who made a video about their trend. They have cups laying around their room just filled with mold because they're just bed rotting. All of these cups, Chick-fil-A containers, all of this stuff has just been piling up because all they do is lay in their bed all day.
I can't stop wondering how long did this person bed rot to have all of those things piling up and getting insane amounts of mold. I mean, these extreme things people do in order to be the best at bed rotting is purely self-neglect. I know this can happen for other mental illnesses as anxiety, depression, mental discomfort, for chronic pain, but the issue is that many people jumping on this train have done this by their own free will, but they don't realize that they are romanticizing severe mental issues or are gradually inducing those into their life for following insane things they see on the internet just because they want to get viral. Luckily for us, there are users who are calling out these bed rotters and are showing the reality of it. So the creator of this video asks for the viewers to read the caption, which says, "I love bed rotting. My room is a bit messy. It's such a depression room right now. None of this is fun or quirky. It's debilitating. And I know my room is disgusting and unhygienic, but this is the reality of what depression can do to some people. I'm not lazy and the mess does bother me greatly, but I physically am not able to do anything about it. This is hard for me to post because I'm so embarrassed about the state of my room and I don't want anyone to see it and judge me. Most of my closest friends have never even seen my room because this is the state it's in 98% of the time. But I want to be open and vulnerable here to show people it's nothing to be ashamed about. Depression is an extremely painful sickness and event." Exactly. As a psychologist, to me, this bed rotting trend is sort of mocking depression. And the thing is, people these days talk about mental illnesses, they say they are real, they ask for them to be taken seriously, but it's this kind of trends that makes it difficult to do so because they are portraying these mental pathologies as something fun, desirable, and something that everyone wants to get, and they don't think that then someone with the actual disorders could be ignored because for the rest of the world they are just trying to fit in and follow trends. With this stuff, the only thing they are doing is diminishing actual mental disorders that do require help. This is another dark side of bed rotting, but hey, it helps me to do the point I want to make, which is something I said before. Bed rotting may induce mental illnesses. Let me explain further. First, you're basically not moving when you are bed rotting, which practically means you won't use your muscles, hence why people are bragging about their bed rotting gains. Anyway, you don't use your muscles, which means your brain is not being utilized. And depending on the duration of your rotting, it could mean that your brain has been shut down for days, weeks. Movement helps your blood and oxygen to flow to your brain, right? If you decide to bed rot for extended periods of time, it means that your blood and oxygen flow will decline. Your brain won't receive them or won't get the adequate amounts it needs to work, and the shortage will significantly affect its functioning. Why? Well, because your brain structure basically changes to adapt to this lack of blood and oxygen, and these changes make your brain work slower or stop doing certain functions in order to survive. And that is why as time passes, your memory gets worse, your attention spans reduce, you will find yourself having difficulty thinking, having ideas, or solving problems in the same speed you used to, which is a cognitive decline, and your brain's plasticity won't be the same, which translates into difficulty learning new things. And this decline is noticeable, which may cause you to not be able to accomplish tasks successfully, which then will cause you problems with your mates at work, school, with your family. Even socializing can get difficult, and all of this can frustrate you, make you feel useless, dumb, as a burden, which directly can affect your self-esteem. And then these self-esteem issues can make you be more sensible to your environment, which might make you just want to escape from the world. Then you decide to isolate, which literally forces you to keep bed rotting. and then getting stuck at home in your bed. And this can depress you, make you moody, irritable, can make you feel anxious whenever you have to go out and interact with people, messes up with your social abilities. Then the only thing you will have will be your social media, and you will potentially become dependent or addicted to it. And some individuals even decide to rely on food, developing binge eating disorders, or they don't feel hungry at all, which ends up in anorexia. Others rely on cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, and these last two could develop some kind of mania, schizophrenia. It's a rabbit hole, as you might notice. On the other hand, this lack of blood and oxygen affects your whole body, hence why you could feel numb, and this numbness can scale up until you suffer from chronic body pain, which affects your mental health significantly, especially increasing the chances to suffer depression or anxiety for not being able to move freely and without extreme discomfort. And if that wasn't enough, bed rotting messes up with your circadian cycle, which could ruin your sleep quantity and quality, which long-term can result in sleep disorders as insomnia, hypersomnia, nightmare disorders, and many others. And again, you can experience other comorbid disorders, as sleeping helps us to regulate our hormones, processing of information, body recovery, memory, and more. And aside from that, bed rotting combined with a mindless scrolling through socials makes you live on an online world in which everyone just shows the best parts of their lives, but somehow you may believe they are living these perfect movie lifestyles. Then you compare yourself to these covers because that's what we all show online, and it makes you feel frustrated, maybe bitter, unmotivated, and it makes you be more depressed and unhappy with yourself, which is not worth it. So here I'm going to show you that people virtually are promoting de-rotting.
Bed rotting is the most disgusting trend on social media. Like, why do people find it so hard to take out the trash, get rid of the dirty dishes, clothes all over the floor, all while your room turns dirty and eventually smells like a stench of rotten food and sweat? And this is a comment I saw on a video of a girl 4 days into bed rotting. But what is it? It's staying in bed for days watching the screen. It's the flashy cars, the 20-somethings making 6 figures, the influencers on their private jet, and the endless highlight reels of success and happiness. And you're not even watching this to be inspired, you're watching this to escape, because every minute you spend living through their lives is a minute you don't have to face your own reality, which is all the boring, mundane tasks that you don't want to do, which is something that I've wasted a lot of my 20s doing. And that's why I'm starting the series called De-Rot with me. While everyone's posting aesthetic reset day videos, which I'm guilty of, I wanted to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, which is de-rotting. We see people glamorizing productivity and self-care routines, but what about those of us who can barely get out of bed? For a lot of us, it's not that simple. So instead of a perfect reset day, I'm taking you through what it actually looks like to de-rot and reclaim my space one step at a time, because even the smallest progress deserves to be celebrated.
As this creator said, I know and I've seen people that can literally leave their beds. It's part of my job as a mental health provider. If that's your case, you might need psychological help to prevent or treat potential mental disorders. But if you're bed rotting as a routine just for following a trend, please stop. Because in the end, you'll only harm yourself long term. Am I saying don't ever bed rot? No, there are healthy ways to do so, as this creator pointed out.
Rules of the bed rot. If you don't know what bed rotting is, then lucky you, and if you do, try and stick to these rules, as this is what I did to get out of a bad place. Rule number 1, never stay wearing what you slept even in. If you're just getting out of pajamas and into new clean ones. We don't want to add to that feeling of grossness. Rule number 2, only watch things that end happily. It's fine to have a little cry, but we're not watching anything that has an overall depressing tone. Rule 3, every time you stand up, you have to take some sort of dirty plate, glass out with you. The last rule is before you get back in bed, make sure your duvet isn't all in one ball and scrunched up. You want to be relaxing in a bed that actually feels comfy, and by following these rules every time, you've made it less of a rot and more of a comfort.
So you can guarantee that you won't literally go to waste in your room. But please, again, don't make a habit out of bed rotting. There are fun and more active things that you can do that are helpful for you to reset, to recover, and are way more healthier, as going on a light walk, maybe take your pets if you have them, maybe do some yoga or basic stretch exercises. If you like nature, go on a hike, maybe you can go swim, go to a coffee shop and have a nice date with yourself, or grab have lunch by yourself, listen to your favorite music and dance and sing to it, do some painting even if you're not the best at it, or color some mandalas, read a book or listen to an audiobook. The possibilities are endless. Just don't make your rest all about bed rotting, because in the long run, it may not be self-care, but self-harm. Is there something you learned from this video or something that you would like to add to the conversation? Leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to like and share with someone who may find this useful. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out on more interesting psychology content. Thanks for watching.